So what do you think of, like, our experience we just went through?
What, are you recording right now?
Yeah. You're eating out of a can.
Yes, I'm eating out of a can.
Look at your
because
cat.
I'm hungry. We are sitting on our first boat, Reprisal.
Which we love.
So we came down here because my son stopped by to visit the boats 2 days ago, and he called me up on the phone. He said, "Dad, you got to get down here. It's 33 degrees on Reprisal. It's freezing here. You got to get down here." And it looked like the heat pumps weren't working. So we jumped in the car right away. We came down, and sure enough, the heat pumps had stopped working. They had frozen up on the outside of the boat. I should mention that right now we're in Philadelphia, and we are in a record-breaking cold spell, and it is for this time of year anyway. It's in the teens. Wind chill factor is below zero, and it's unusually cold. So I was surprised when we got down here to find out that the heat pumps stopped working on this boat, but on Triton, our bigger boat, they're working just fine.
No problem.
Nice and warm and cozy on that boat. This boat dropped to 33 degrees. So we could not get them to come back on. We don't know why yet. So we went and we started plugging in various space heaters.
Yep.
And to get the temperature back up, which has worked. We had to do a number of other things, like shove hair dryers into little crevices because some of the lines had frozen. We had no water to the toilets or to the sink. We eventually got that solved.
Which we'll show you.
Yeah. And right now everything seems to be fine. We had to do some hard wiring since the heat pumps weren't working. I disconnected them and I hardwired some space heaters into the air conditioner's circuit breakers because there was not enough amperage or enough power to supply more than two otherwise. So now we have 4 space heaters working. Temperature's up to around 70 degrees. Everything's working great. But it was an unusual experience. Simultaneously, this could be part of the problem. The Delaware is lower than it's ever been. There's people around here not understanding why it is as low as it is. In our marina, we hit dirt on this boat here.
Yeah.
The back of the stern was up on an angle because we were hitting dirt behind us. Our bigger boat was fine. It was just barely touching bottom at low tide.
Yeah.
But some of the other boats in this marina were literally
sitting
up
on mud.
2 feet up off the water in mud.
Sitting on mud.
And we've been at this marina for a couple of months. We've never seen low tide anywhere close to that.
We talked to the dock master, and the dock master said he's never seen anything like that. He actually went when he came to work and he saw, holy crap, everybody's on mud. He went to the marinas that are up, Pier 3 and Pier 7 and Penn's Landing, and he said they're all on mud. And he said, "Oh my God, I've never seen this." And I think he said he worked here 5 years and he's never seen anything like it.
Well, so we thought maybe part of the problem with the heat pumps not working is that we were sucking in mud, which would have been quite possible. However, when we did get to high tide, I did turn them back on, and I emptied out our strainer and made sure I had water flow coming in through the seacock, and everything seemed fine there. It's quite possible we're frozen on the exits from the air conditioners, and that might be preventing the water from running. So I'm not really quite sure, but in this case, it doesn't really matter. We just had to get the boat up to temperature.
Yeah, the external water is at 45 degrees.
The water in the river.
It's 45, so that shouldn't stop the heat pumps.
No, it shouldn't. It will kill their efficiency, but it shouldn't stop them. And on our other boat, everything's nice and warm.
Yeah.
So, not quite sure what happened. I'm glad my son came down here. We knew it was very cold, and that's why he was stopping by just to check on things. So we're very happy that that's what happened. So we were enjoying soup out of a can and a martini and a glass of wine.
Because we have all the heaters going right now.
Yeah.
So we have to turn off a heater to get the microwave to work, or we didn't even do the oven, but I'm not cooking on an oven.
Yeah, we don't have enough electricity, enough amperage to this boat to run everything that we need to run at one time. So the heaters are running, the stove's not running. If the stove's running, we have to turn the heaters off. And we decided we'd rather be warm and eat cold soup than eat hot soup and be freezing.
It's not cold. It's not cold. I had a really nice cup of hot soup. But we have to turn a heater off to keep the hot water running. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's our first time on in the winter. On the water.
And we haven't stayed on this boat since we bought the new boat, so we're happy to be here. It's it's kind of nostalgic. We were on the boat for the first time in over a year, and spending the night, and we still love her like we always did. But boy, she seems small now compared to.
But we did plastic up the windows too. We did get some plastic.
We put some plastic up on the windows, and whatever we could do to try to keep her a little more insulated.
That did make a difference. Like, we didn't think it was gonna, but it really did. And we plastic the bedroom windows, all the windows that have curtains over them where you wouldn't see anyway. So we still have the other windows that you look out of. They're not plastic, but it did make it warmer, and we're at a nice sweet 69 right now. So
well, cheers. Enjoy. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Are you actually sure you're recording here?
Yeah, weirdo.
No, so we're in Philadelphia. It's about 8 degrees out right now, maybe 6. And it's been this way for a couple of days, and it's
freezing.
It's not normally this cold, especially in early January in Philadelphia. So we've been fighting to keep our boats up to temperature. Our smaller boat's been a little bit easier because we just threw a couple of space heaters on it.
And bam!
The heat pumps stopped working because the water temperatures dropped down to
under 40.
Yeah,
40.
Yeah, mid 30s, maybe lower. Ice is freezing. So.
For more than one reason.
But we've been fighting on the bigger boat on Triton because there's just so much square footage. And we only have so much electric that we can use. There's only so many outlets to plug space heaters in.
Well, first off, we only have 50 and 30 amp, not our normal 100 amp.
Well, we're running off 80 amps here, and it would be nice if we were running off 200. That's part of the problem, but part of the problem is that there's only so many places you can plug space heaters in before you start blowing breakers, and plus we have our block heaters on, and that's heating up power too. So
but those engines are warm.
yeah. So we've been fighting with temperature, and then today it's tax season now, so I had to go to work, and Lynn had to go to work. And of course, we get to work, and then next thing you know, the girl who owns the boat next to us calls me on the phone and says, "There's water running off the top of your boat." And so, of course, we flew back down here to find out what's going on, and we blew a line that goes to our windshield wiper.
We knew we were going to do that, though.
Yeah,
we knew that. We were lazy.
Yeah, I don't know if we were lazy. I couldn't find where to drain it, and then you get tied up in other things and you forget about it, and you're trying to make sure everything's covered. Well, we forgot about the windshield wiper fluid, and it burst, and it burst up on the upper helm. Unfortunately, it ran off to the side of the boat. It didn't come into the boat. Just a little bit came into the boat. Most of it went off to the side, went out whatever drains it found. So there was not a lot of damage. But we had to go up there, and we had to find the leak. And we found a split 3/8 inch copper line. And I cut it out, and I put a temporary valve on it so that I could just turn it off,
which was
insulate it, cover it, and I know that somewhere on this boat there's some valve, someplace, somewhere, somebody before me thought of how to drain that.
You would think.
Yeah, this problem's been solved before, but I have no idea where it is. We've looked everywhere to find some way that we can drain this system, but we can't find it. So,
or I always thought they should do something that shuts off just the wipers, because if you wanted to keep this like as a winter boat and like kind of live in for the winter, shut off the wipers.
Well,
and there's not. We couldn't find
well, there
anything.
should be. I'm sure it exists.
There's no guides.
I'll find it a couple of years from now and I'll post the video.
Right.
But what we did
like
now
we found
was
the lights for reprisal.
Yeah.
Remember that?
But all I did now is I went up there. I cut out the bad part, and I put a valve in, and then we insulated it. We threw a bunch of blankets and everything else on it to try and keep it warm. And so hopefully that's it. So this is
it's a quick cure for now.
Yeah, but
this is
like
warmer.
day 7 of existing in sub 10 degree weather in Philadelphia.
Tomorrow, Friday, it's going to be 1 degrees,
so,
not to mention the wind chill factor.
Yeah, well,
so it's a little. This is our first time doing the boat on the water in the winter. So our experience with how to winterize your boats, like we first laughed because some of the boats had like plastic up and stuff, and we're like, oh, that's ridiculous. But now we're finding that's not so ridiculous. Like,
and we're spending the nights here. We normally we didn't plan to be here. We thought we'd be at our house in Bucks County, but
it's toasty warm.
Yeah. We're very afraid of what may happen, so we're here to protect the boat.
Yeah,
and
both boats.
Last night, the heaters, our heat pumps stopped working, and it dropped down to 45 degrees in our bedroom. And we can only put so many space heaters in, and they weren't working. So woke up this morning to 45 degree temperatures.
And we did not take showers this morning because it was too cold.
Yeah, so that was the start of our day. The end of our day was fixing the leak.
Yeah.
Anyway, not complaining. We love boat life.
We still do, even though. Although I'm learning to hate copper, and I always loved copper. But now I'm like, God, copper. Because we have issues with our buildings too, which is a whole other story.
Copper sucks.
Copper.
But, we're not complaining, just, hey, it's the way it is. Welcome to the boat life.
Yep, welcome to the boat life.
See you next time. Cheers. My least favorite things to do about boating.
Well, we shouldn't have to.
We have ice heaters on the other side of the boat, but I just don't like ice forming here, so I've been breaking it up. We've got 0 degree weather in Philadelphia tonight, and this is what happens.
Yay, boat life. So our hose is frozen. We had a suspicion it wasn't getting as hot as the hose that we bought for the other boat. So Ed right now is massaging the lines trying to get the ice out. And we have the generator running to keep that warm. And our entire marina is frozen except for a little spot where we're at here. So it's quite an experience, this being on the water in the winter, especially a very cold winter.
Well, it seems like the problems never end with this cold spell we're having. You can see the boat is out of the water, sitting on mud, and judging by the ice there, we're up about 8 inches higher than we should be in the back. In the front, is in the water like it should be. So our aft is out. And that's only the beginning of the problems. It looks like our forward bilge failed, and we are up to the floor in water in the front of the boat. You can see all the pumps, the bilge pump and the shower pump, are completely underwater. It appears that the engines are okay. I don't know how high the water got up on that because we're on an angle. I assume it's just all sitting in that front area right now. I don't know why we took on water like that. There's nothing coming out of the shaft seals right now, but I suspect that that could be the problem. That sitting on the mud may have put pressure on the shaft seals and also the rudder seals, so that when high tide comes and the boat levels out, I think I'm going to start to see drippage in there. That's my only assumption. And that's causing this compartment to fill with water. It's not a very large compartment there, so it probably looks like more water than it is. I hope when the boat levels out that it didn't get up very high on the engines. I'll never know, because I'm going to get a teal pump and I'm going to suck that out and get it before the boat even has a chance to level. So off to Home Depot, and I'll be back and let you know how it goes. And as you can see, Triton is a couple of inches out of the water as well in the aft. The bow is completely in. None of this should have happened. I was told I had plenty of water when I decided to bring the boats here, but I came out and measured it, both of these slips at low tide, both at Neap and Swing, and I did have plenty of water in November. So what happened to the Delaware, I have no idea, but just about every boat in here is sitting in mud right now. Unfortunately, I have the deepest slip for Triton, so it's just barely touching in the aft. An hour from now, that'll all change.
So we're at the bottom. Okay. So there's only half a gallon in it?
Yeah, about a half a gallon over 24 hours, and that could have been, I don't know, stuff running from other parts of the boat, not sure.
Well, the good thing was the shafts weren't leaking. We were happy about that because we thought with all that water that was in there, because it was filled to the top, overflowed into the front stateroom. And
who knows? Let's take a look at the shafts just to be sure.
okay.
If they're not, I didn't see any more water.
They seem okay.
So it looks like the culprit was not the bilge pump, but this switch. And I had just replaced this about 2 years ago. But as you can see, it goes up, it don't come down. It's kind of hard to even get to go up. And I think it just didn't go up and it allowed the bilge to fill. And it's really cruddy, so I don't know if that's because I'm not keeping my bilge clean enough or what, but I'm going to attempt to clean it and see if it gets smooth again. If not, it's going in the trash and we'll get another one. But apparently that's it, because I got the bilge to turn on just fine manually after I let it dry out, and it works fine when I do this. I hook this back up and it works fine when I do this as well. So we'll see.